Okay, we should have everybody aboard now, and people are trying to access through their phone. I can't handle that tonight, so got to go through YouTube or through my Google Plus account. Hello, everybody. My name is Dr. Lee Jensen, and this is the weekly gathering of the INE Network. We've been doing this for 10 years now, where we get together once a week and talk about artistic business concepts, things that I think are the things not often discussed in the marketplace. And we're kind of a pioneering group of discovering talent, developing talent, mastering something, and then learning how to market and share that something. And that INE circle has been really supportive. I think it's probably the best thing we've done in our entire 38 years as a company. Tonight I want to start in quickly. I've got a cold and I'm not feeling great, so I'm going to push the buttons here quickly and get on with it so I can survive. I debated all afternoon whether I even ought to fire this up, but I know that it's just, don't like to delay things if I can avoid them, getting them out the door. So let's light this up and talk a little different slant about art. When I get to talk to any one of you on
We have art as a learning tool.
one-on-one,
Go, Lou. You're on.
okay, I'm trying to kill that phone call. When you talk about tools and how things work for each of us and learning anything new, we always kind of come at it the only way we know how. And I've noticed over the years when I first started trying to put together videos to teach people how to use the handpiece, it was tricky. It's not your normal tool. And so I had to get a little better and a little better and a little better at being able to videotape concepts and get them in a form that would actually help somebody learn at a distance. And that, it was terrible to begin with, but we made it work. And when you start trying to explore your own individual art ability, you have to kind of dawn on you that this is not a way of life. It's not a destination. It's how you go at it. And if you can kind of be the kind of nature and kind of personality, and I get to see all of you. I know how persistent you are. I've watched you work in Access and play with this for years, in some cases 20 years or more. And when I can find that kind of persistent personality, then anything is possible. When I went after Success Mountain and started talking about the art of successful living and using my story mixed with our story and then trying to help people grow their own story, the INE network dropped right into place. And it was something that I felt was significant in the thought process that just showed up. It wasn't something I had to work very hard at. It just was there. So I want to start today with the question, is there a deeper purpose for growing your artistic skills? Because I think there is. For those who get way beyond what they thought they could, it's one of the most exciting, enjoyable human processes that I'm aware of. Because you just start out thinking, I'm not sure I can do this. And then you begin to realize and discover that you can. And when you start dawning on you that you can make up this direction from here on out, how you're going to take your life, then you use art as a medium. I showed this a little while ago on one of my shows, and I'm going to use it again tonight. It's inlaid ivory crown molding in Deseret book. The influence of art is so powerful. Ivory crown molding in Deseret book. The influence of art is so powerful. How come that phone call's coming through? Okay. The influence of art is so powerful in shaping our lives from a higher appreciation for the creation of our God. We should be as eager for the companionship as we are for the food to sustain our lives. For it has an important mission in shaping our character and conducting to our happiness and anything we term necessary. Life is incomplete without it. So when you read a statement like that and you think it back through and realize what's really being said, hopefully, now what happened here? I've lost everything.
There it comes back up as reloading.
Okay. That's going past, though. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I don't know why it won't just continue with the slides. I'm on the prints, not the slides. Okay. When I start coaching new people, I usually talk about the fact that art and the preservation and collection and acquisition of art is right at the top of the economic trading list. There's just nothing that well-off people value more at a certain point than art. And so it has a magic role, but I'm going to try and mix it into your life with a new way to see tonight. To try and say, well, how do things work around you, and what could you see that you've not seen before? Probably my single greatest claim to fame is that I saw in the drill turning the right angle dental drill into a straight hand piece. I saw what the entire dental trade had missed for 80 years. And I still attribute that idea as coming to me. It's not something that I got to whip up or characterize. It came to me and it hit me like a ton of bricks. And when you see those kinds of occasions and you cross paths with those kinds of occasions, we went to the Shakespearean Festival this weekend to honor Fred Adams, and God, it was just so much fun. And they sat us at the head table with David Simmons, and when I saw his card on the table, I was kind of startled because I remember doing one of my crystal books for him a few years ago. And so I finally couldn't resist. I went around and sat by him and talked with him for quite a while about Jack Solomon and his crystal, and I told him that I had done the engraving on the crystal book for him. And I can't tell you how many I've done over the years, but I've been trying to meet David Simmons for a long time. And all of a sudden, right out of the blue, combination of one thing led to another thing, led to another thing, and there he was right in my life. So as we start realizing how much time we each have left, I posted today, I don't know how much time I've got left, but I'm concerned about it. I really do pay attention to the fact that unless I get some things done, some things that I really matter to me are going to get undone. So what we most need to measure and value is where we kind of want to end up with this whole thing, and how we see ourselves in that process is my favorite subject. Most of us don't see ourselves with everything that's within that we really ought to. I grew up with Rance. This was Woody Searle's son, and we were in high school together. And Rance had a tough go. His dad was extremely successful. He had a huge ranch and all kind of property and world champion cutting horses, and they're just cowboys. And Rance was a musician, and he actually right out of high school got Neil Diamond published one of his songs. It was his first major hit, and he was in L.A. just going crazy, and we're all really proud of him. But things didn't work out for him as he had hoped. So eventually he came home, and I was at the table the night he came in to talk to his dad about his other feelings, things that he had been drawn in the direction to make all the money and be famous and have Neil Diamond wave the flag and beat the drum for him. But he said that his primary love and passion was horticulture. And I didn't know that about him. I thought all he was this music crazy. But his dad told him to go where his heart said he ought to go. And it was the same time that I was trying to figure out a way out of dentistry, and I was doing videos, and I had the drill built, and Rance was just right there to help me with so many things. And then all of a sudden he came up with a new way to hang flowers, and he called it every blooming thing, and it's a plastic new way of mounting particularly petunias. And the whole city just jumped all over it. So even to this day, everywhere you go in Little Tiny Vernal, there's going to be these beautiful flowers all summer long. And he was in seventh heaven the second he found this way to go. And then work was no longer an issue. His passion just exploded. It was so fun to participate with him and counsel with him and interact with his counsel with his dad. And to watch him reach out and touch places all over the world. He ended up doing all kinds of inspirational flower display settings for mostly weddings all over the world. And he just couldn't do it big enough. He just wanted more and more and more. And then he got asked by the Queen of England to come and work on her garden. And he called me and he says, "Lou, you'll never guess what I saw at the palace." Now, Rance helped me do my first videos, and as I was trying to shoot my own videos, I didn't know anything about it. And they were absolutely terrible. But I worked many, many, many nights all through the night because it's the only time I had extra that I could throw at it. But I was so convinced that it needed to be, that if I'm going to take this concept and do something with it, I need to push it further than I had ever dreamed or ever thought of. I've shown this many times because I think this is one of the most attractive photographs of a Fabergé egg that there is. And oh, they're extremely valuable. But Rance brought all these pictures home, and he says, "Lou," he says, "look at all these cool things. All this little tiny stuff that could be done with your handpiece." He was constantly on the front end of new ideas. His eyes, he saw with different eyes. So as you start trying to see with your other eyes, try to use less your visual two eyepiece and try and nudge it further to see with that third eye. I talked about Vedya many times. She was in 2012 was the top 12 bloggers on the internet, and I pay attention to everything she posts up. And when you see how she writes her profiles and what she says and how she interacts with people, that begins to teach you on what you should do and how can you actually get better at this whole thing. Because where it's going now is this internet function is turning into a broadcasting system. It's a way to get out in front of all of humanity now. I can promise you one thing, and it's hard for me to say it at times, but the rest of your life journey, if it's going to be worthwhile and satisfying, it's going to be uphill. On purpose, take on the hard, difficult things. Look at the tasks that are challenging. Don't look at things just because they're easy. If there's a way for you to push that and nudge that into your own operation, you'll begin to see how how it's so helpful when you connect with like-minded individuals. Google Plus puts you in connection with all the same people. And when you're mixing with the same like-minded individuals, what you have to do is groom that by adding them or taking them out based on what they're portraying or posting on your stream every day. And most don't do that. If you don't groom your database on your phone, you'll get random. And I think what you're after is this third eye. You want to see things that you didn't think of before. It's so fun to get to this point. And I have so many say, how do you do that? How do you find what you really ought? And I keep thinking, well, if you'll stick with your threads of interest, if you'll stick really close to the things that are most appealing to you, and don't let your regular two eyes blind you with all these options. It's just unbelievable how many options there are in the world and which way you could take your life. But what you want to do is go in the direction of the perception. The act of discovering who we are will force us to accept that we can go further than we think. And alone we can do so little, together we can do so much. This is the part that I believe in deeply now. I just can't see trying to pull off the best that's within you without an army of like-minded people around you. Most artistic types are generally loners. We kind of like our own creative time. But you really need to realize that what you're after is the possibilities. You can't take it on the basis of it will or won't work. If your mind is already made up, then you're stuck. What changes is when we persist with some question we and our ability have the ability to do. That which we persist in doing does become us. And it's not that the task gets any easier, it's that our skills and ability gradually begin to improve. We need to forget what we think we are so we can really become what we are. Even when we think we cannot rise up, there's still hope. And sometimes we just need someone to look in the eyes, take our hand and say, you can do it now. Keep going. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Because the whole process now is about creating yourself, but it's using the tools, the new tools that you're in search of. So where does persistence come in as a tool? Wishing, hoping, and dreaming and persisting is what makes it happen. Social media to me is the greatest thing that has ever come into the human mix of things. I am so startled at how pervasive it is, how powerful it's becoming. And once everyone learns how to use it, it has at least a chance to finally change the world. If you ask yourself tomorrow as you start into your day, a year from now, will this day matter? And when you see a slide that I've posted before and you've seen that I put it up 2 or 3 times and you recognize it, it should tell you that that image is already in your subconscious. It's in your brain. You recognize it and it's there. It's still there. Everything you say, think, or do is recorded. So is there a way to use that as a tool, a way to basically jump on it as an art, okay? There's an art to everything, and that, to me, it's the digging at the more involved portion of that. Instead of just doing it cursory and just saying, oh yeah, that's good enough. What you're after is the very best you can possibly compose. And it's easy to tell because no one else will follow you. So I'm encouraging you one more time to stay very close to your precious threads of interest. I don't think there's anything that I bring up more often because I think that's where it is. Analyze your favorite circumstances and see if you're putting music into the mixture that you're trying to compose and produce. I wondered this today when I put it in. I thought, I wonder how many work without music. Because most of us do. But the kind of music you listen to can help you reach even further, look even higher, dig even deeper. Go against your basic nature. Don't think the way you've always thought. Try and see if you can figure out some whole new way of going at it. And the miracle will be in your doing. It's fun to have my circumstances. I've preached it now for 38 years. From the simple moment in Easter time of 1977 to now, this little concept has just taken my life all over the world. And all I've done is stay with the persistent factor. I love the threads of interest that I have in my life. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. Nothing is more satisfying than doing what you questioned you had the ability to do. Keith and I have talked about this concept forever. It really is the idea of sensing there's more and going after there's more and finding more. Okay? Moving from the amateur to the master of something is the trick. And when we go after it together, I think we're going to produce a masterpiece. Oh. I've been wrestling with the cold for several days, and today was that bone-crunching day for our family, and so I'm gonna just drop off the planet, guys. I can't even hang on anymore. If you want to talk and visit with each other, why, go right ahead. I've just got to collapse. Think now with your third eye as a tool. Try and enhance that gift. Look at how you're going to go and what you're going to do with your future with your third eye rather than your regular eyes, okay? Thank you, everybody, and good night.
Turn your live feed off. Whoops. Can't talk about him yet.
That'll stay on forever, I think.
No,
Until we close out the hangout.
I thought we timed it once and it knocked off about 5-10 minutes. But who knows?
I don't know. Google made changes this past week to Google Plus, and YouTube, and didn't tell anybody. So I know it's a.
Yeah, I know. Joni informed me of that this evening. Why did they make all these changes? Because they can. It's to keep the old people confused.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Well, there's a face that we haven't seen in quite a while. Brian.
He's got so much light on it, you can almost not see it now.
I know it. Shine to him.
It's that glow of success.
Yeah. Is that what it is?
You must have that light shining right on you, Brian.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, it's behind my monitor.
Bounce it off your wall.
Yeah, you're washed out though. Your whole face is washed out.
It's a light that simulates sunlight, so that when I'm camped down in the basement for 170 hours, I can pretend to be outside for a minute.
Is that what I need to do?
You just need to crawl out of your belfry.
Well, yeah, hey, I'm fixing to. As it stands right now, I've got 6 rallies lined up. I've got confirmation on 1 club event today and waiting on final confirmation of 3 more club events for this summer. So
cool.
Good
I'm
deal,
fixing to climb
Jay.
out of my belfry.
Yep.
Jay, you don't even have a basement, do you?
Well,
Jay.
I guess if you crawled under the house, I would, but
I was fixing to say, you're in Oklahoma. They're not known for having basements out there.
oh
No, they
yes,
got-
they are.
Yeah, they do.
are.
Yeah, they are.
They're called tornado shelters.
Or
Oh,
root
yeah.
cellars.
Okay.
This is the only house that I haven't lived in probably 30 years that doesn't have a basement.
They haven't figured out that when a tornado comes through, everything on top falls down inside the basement.
Yeah.
Makes for easier cleanup.
Light a match.
Just push
Walk
it out
off.
that hole.
Just push it all into the basement and light a match. Eventually, it'll clear out.
Yeah, well, we're making jokes of it, but it's not funny to the people that go through it.
No, it's not.
Yeah, I've been through it. Trust me.
Actually, most of the basements that I had, they were, a solid concrete top on them. So
Oh, there you go. Brian, what you got lined up coming up?
I leave for Bulgaria March 29th,
Wow.
and I'll be back 3 months later.
oh, right, racking up frequent flyer miles again, huh?
Yep, you know it. And I'm working on maybe an art exchange in China and Mexico as well.
Wow.
Cool.
Real
that's
globe
good.
trotter.
Yep. And the best part is I write it all off on my taxes.
Yep, there you go.
That's good.
Yep.
Do you usually take all of your equipment with you, Brian?
I do, because I go do demonstrations in all the cities that I go to.
How does that work out on the airlines for you?
It's no big deal, because I'm not taking anything that's illegal, you know.
No, I mean as far as you haven't lost any equipment or...
The only thing I've ever lost was a couple of gourds. They've never broken an egg, but they broke gourds.
Huh.
Go
Go
figure.
figure.
Yeah, well, they probably wouldn't have broke the gourds because I packed them well, but TSA unpacked my bags and couldn't get it all back in there the way that I put it in there, so they just put it however they could, and that's when everything got busted.